Hello ladies and gentle people, and welcome to the forest. So today we are moving away from the text editor, the Notepad editor, to create our websites, and we're going to explore what's out there to create our websites in, because as I said in the last video, Notepad is not a good solution. So there's loads and loads of options. There are hundreds that I could probably name right now of options out there for you, and it sometimes gets confusing because there's so many different ones to pick, and each of them is subtly different. There's a few with a lot of similarities and minor differences, and then a few that have huge differences in their approach towards what they want to do. Now, a lot of the editors that are out there support loads of different languages, and some just support one or two and are just focused on one thing or two things that are very similar. So there's loads and loads of things to consider. Now for us, we're designing a website, so that does cut it down somewhat. Now the biggest thing you've got to think about is how much support do you think you'll need, how much hand-holding do you want, because for instance, one of the big players, or traditionally one of the big players in the kind of hand-holding experience is Adobe's Dreamweaver. Now Adobe's Dreamweaver has menus for everything, and you, instead of having to type stuff out, you click menus for an awful lot. It is a very capable code editor as well, and you can do whatever you want on it, and you can write code if you wish, but there's a lot of features built into it. Now, the problem I had when I started learning with Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver did all the stuff for me, so I never had to learn how to do it. And that's great for when you're starting out, but when you're kind of moving beyond the stages of starting out, then you realise, well, hang on, how did Dreamweaver do that? I don't know kind of what Dreamweaver did to accomplish that thing. It did it brilliantly, but I have no idea how it did it. And then when you want to do something subtly different, you have no idea about the code that Dreamweaver's used to accomplish what it's done. So I would probably, if I were you and you're starting out, I'd probably avoid the kind of hand-holding IDEs or code editors out there, and go for a more kind of like Notepad but with a lot more features. So down the bottom end, where it's just you writing code and then executing the code, there's by far my favourite, and this isn't a consensus, this isn't the one that everyone uses. In fact, this is probably maybe the third or fourth down the list of the one that everyone uses, but for a starter, for a beginner, and kind of text editor you can use all the way through, Notepad++ is by far my personal best. So we're going to download that now. It's dead simple. So all you need to do is go to your Google, type in Notepad++, and go to probably the first one there. And now this is quite an intimidating website because you're probably used to like options of download and then that's it. With these kind of websites, they have loads of different types of user. There might be users that are trying to get this to run on a very different device to a laptop or a PC or a Mac, and so they've got loads and loads of different options. All of this stuff is free and open, so they share, as well as the installer and the program to you that me and you use as the end stuff, they share everything else as well, so we don't need to worry about that. Now, looking down here, my computer's 64-bit. If you've got a 32-bit, then you can click there. Now, looking at this, installer is just, that's what I want. Zip package allows you to have a kind of more portable version. It means you can put it onto a USB stick and then move it from computer to computer, which is useful. I like actually installing it on, so I get all the features that Windows gives when you install a program rather than just run it from an executable. And then 7Z is just a different way of zipping a file. So both of these are just compressed. And then minimal package, which means that they've stripped out all of the features. So if you've got to run it on a really low spec device or something, or you've got kind of something in mind that you need it to be a really small program. But anyway, that's way too much waffle. I just think that sometimes no one ever explains what any of those things are, so I thought I'd do it. Okay, so that's downloaded now. So click, yes, English. Yeah, I agree to all that. I have previously read it because I'm sad. Now this screen here is quite daunting at first. There's lots of different things. Basically with Notepad++, it allows you to customize the heck out of it. You can do whatever you want with it. That screen's mainly there for someone who has been using this for years and knows exactly what they want, and they don't want to kind of sit around installing stuff later on. They just want it here. But if you go for the default options, you will be fine. So create a shortcut on desktop, yes I do. And then this bit here is to do with kind of portability. So again, if you want to store it on a USB device, then you click on that, but we don't. I'm happy for it to be on here. So install. And so let's close down that. And let's run, let's open. Okay, so you can see it's loaded, and it's loaded to a changelog, which just says basically what's new in this version. What I'm going to do is go to the top and File and New, and I'm going to close that down now. This program has tabs at the top, similar to the ones at the bottom of Excel, or tabs in your browser, and each one is a different project you're working on, a different file you're working on. So you can actually have multiple files open. Now it's really useful because sometimes, in fact most times, you have a HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a CSS file. So you kind of want them side by side and not have to kind of close one, open the other the whole time. So it's actually a really useful feature. Okay, and we're going to do the same as we did before. So HTML, head, close head, not passing anything into the head, body, and then hello world, exclamation mark, close the body, and close the HTML. Done. So what I'm going to do now is, like before, I'm just going to close that changelog, save this, so save as, and you go to desktop, and I'm going to call this second one. And you can see here like the amount of stuff that you can code in Notepad++, because each of these are files that's ready to receive. So if I go to HTML, which is this one here, and it would pick it up automatically. If you type .html, it will pick that up automatically, that it's that one, and save. And then when I close, I'll minimize that. And again, I'll go back to my desktop where I've said second1.html, double click it, and there we go. Now we've got the same result as last time when we did it on Notepad, but you'll soon see as we work through with Notepad++, this program has so many features built in just to help you. It does color code different things, so you can just at a glance see what it is you're doing straight away. It numbers the lines, which is really useful because if you muck up something in JavaScript, it will spit back the line number that went wrong, and you can just go to it straight away. So there's loads and loads of different reasons why. I've hardly scratched the surface of why you'd use that. Just one last thing. One of the things that you should pick or that you could pick your editor on, or IDE, depending on how big it is the ability to upload stuff to the server. Now Notepad++ can do this. You can have something in Notepad++ that will upload your files to the server within the thing itself. But a much more common solution is to use a program called FileZilla. So when we're up to that point in the course, then we'll talk about FileZilla. But if you're told, oh no, Notepad++ isn't very good because it's a bit clunky, it's not the best, Dreamweaver, for instance, has a really good system of doing it. There is an alternative out there, so you can still use Notepad++ and have a different program that does that. I've been waffling way too much. I hope you find this video useful. If you've got any comments or questions or requests for future videos, please put them in the comments below. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you like the video, please click like. We're releasing these videos every single day at 6 o'clock, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock UK time in the evening. If you've got any questions or anything like that, or you've got requests for future videos, or you're not quite sure about something, please write in the comments below, and I'll try and get back to you. And if you want to see more from us, please click subscribe. Thank you very much.